Hi, I'm Hectpax. This week we'll take a look at the last 3 articles of the 13 Principles of Game Design. These articles are player, communication, and appeal. So let's start. Player. The player is an important component of any gaming experience. The player's choices, actions, and reactions shape the game world and story. The player's preferences and expectations are vital for the success of a game. Player feedback is invaluable in the design process, and developers must understand and engage with the player's preferences. Emotional engagement from the player is a significant aspect of the gaming experience, and developers can use various techniques to create emotional connections. The player is an integral part of the game experience. Developers need to understand and engage with players to create successful games. By taking into account the player's preferences, feedback, and emotional engagement, developers can create games that are both enjoyable and meaningful. For example, the RPG, role-playing game, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, offers a game world that is highly dependent on the player's choices and actions. The player can carve out a unique path in the game world by developing their character's abilities and interacting with different factions. Additionally, the player's choices can also affect the outcome of the story. Another example is the action-adventure game, The Last of Us Part 2, which uses intensive storytelling and character development to create emotional engagement with the player. Players can empathize with the challenges the main characters face in their struggle for survival. As these examples demonstrate, the player's preferences, feedback, and emotional engagement are important components of the game experience, and successful game designers take them into account when designing their games. Communication. The game development process is a team effort that involves many different people coming together to design and develop a game. This team typically includes game designers, programmers, artists, writers, and testers. Game design is a complex process that combines many different elements to achieve a specific goal. For example, to design a first-person shooter game, team members must understand the game's core mechanics, story, characters, graphics, and user interface. However, if there is not proper communication among team members, ideas can become confused and problems can arise during the game design process. For example, designers may be focused on the game's story while programmers are working on the mechanics of the game. This can eventually lead to different parts being pieced together in an incompatible manner, and lead to errors that the end user may encounter. Therefore, it is crucial to ensure that the right team members understand the right goals and solutions. Ensuring that everyone on the team shares a common vision and works in harmony with each other will contribute to the successful development of the game. Additionally, conveying ideas accurately and expressing them clearly is also important. This will ensure that everyone on the team is speaking the same language while interacting with each other. For example, for a game like The Last of Us, game designers and writers have designed the game's post-apocalyptic world. Artists have created the graphics and character designs for the game. Programmers have worked on the game's core mechanics and artificial intelligence. Testers have helped improve the game for end users by testing different parts of the game and providing feedback. However, if there is not proper communication within the team, issues can arise during game design. For instance, inconsistencies between the game's story and mechanics can lead to problems that players may encounter while playing the game. Therefore, ensuring proper communication and collaboration among team members will contribute to the successful development of the game and provide a better experience for end users. If we look at this issue from a design perspective, mechanical and design compatibility is necessary. In a game, if the player needs to jump but is not given prior knowledge of this mechanic, or does not know how it works, the player will need to solve this problem on their own, and this indicates a communication gap between the game and the player. Appeal. Game developers should consider their target audience when creating a game. Understanding potential players is important for deciding which features and gameplay mechanics to use when designing the game. Additionally, game developers work with publishers and marketing teams to promote their games. Therefore, it is important for the game to be appealing to the target audience. In this context, if you are unsure if the structure and features of a game will attract or hold the audience's interest, more work may be needed to improve the game. Exploring new ideas and making redesigns and modifications to create a better game is important. This process will help make the game more appealing to end users. For example, a game studio is working on a new action game idea. The game designers have determined the basic mechanics and gameplay of the game, and the artists are creating character and world designs. However, does this idea really have potential? Will audiences and players prefer this type of game? This is a question that developers need to research by consulting with their marketing and publishing teams. If research determines, for example, that there is significant potential for this type of action game in the market and that it could attract a strong interest from players, developers may decide to continue with this idea. However, if research yields negative results and it is determined that this type of game will not be in demand, developers may need to reassess their idea. Therefore, developers should carefully evaluate whether their game is appealing to the potential audience before releasing it, and if necessary, they should be willing to change their ideas. This is critical to the success of the game. If we look at this issue from a design perspective, in order to engage the player in the game, it is necessary to attract their interest. A game that does not attract the player's interest, no matter how mechanically great it is, cannot draw the player in if its design appeal is weak. Thus, we have finished the 13 principles of game design. I hope it was useful. Thanks for watching.